Hello everybody and welcome back to the Retrocuting Collectors channel today, and today we're taking a third look at this Worlds Collide Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack. Today we're taking a look at the Bumblebee from it. So we can go ahead and get these guys all out of the way. We can move him, and we can take a look at this box here. So like I've said, this box would have had the 4 figures on display here at the front. But we can go ahead and flip this box around and look at the back of it at Bumblebee's section here. Right there. Just got a picture of him in his robot mode as well as his alt mode, which is a very cool looking car. We'll talk about that when we get to that. But other than that, there isn't really much to show on the box. There's just some art pieces and stuff, so we can get that out of the way and bring him back in. So taking a look at Bumblebee here, he is very, very small. We can go ahead and get his weapon out of here. So there is a lot of controversy around this figure, being that he is a retool of that, or repaint, I guess retool, maybe, of that Earthrise Cliffjumper. And a lot of people dislike the Earthrise Cliffjumper because it has parts forming elements, which doesn't really bother me at all personally, but I could see how it could bother some people. But he has this really nice yellow paint job on him, as you would expect with the Bumblebee. He's got his Autobot symbol right there, very, very bold on the front there. Got the back of the car right here. This is the whole parts forming element that people don't like. He's got these huge feet, and I've heard that you can get this dude into some really insane poses, and those feet will just hold. They're just incredible bases for this dude to stand on. So you can get him into some really good poses because of that. But overall, super cool looking robot. This is what I bought the 4-pack for, was because I really wanted a Bumblebee on my shelf, but I didn't want to have to fork out a pile of money to get the Netflix one. I will eventually, but at the moment I just didn't have the money for it, so I went with this guy, and I do not regret it. He is very, very cool. I do still plan on getting the Netflix one, which transforms into the Volkswagen Beetle. So when I get that, I'll make a video on that. But for now, this will have to do on the shelf. I personally think he's really cool. He is very, very small. And I can go ahead and give you some size comparisons here. Here he is next to the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Worlds Collide Fangry, which was in the last video. And as you can see, I guessed Fangry was a deluxe class because I thought he looked small next to Nemesis Primal. And this Bumblebee looks tiny next to Fangry. We can grab another small figure here. Here is the deluxe class Kingdom Huffer. And again, Huffer makes Bumblebee look tiny. Just for the fun of it here, we can get Huffer out of here, and we can bring in my custom painted core class Kingdom Skywarp. And you can kind of see that Bumblebee fits in almost better with the core class figures than he does with the deluxe class figures. And we can bring in the Kingdom Ultra Magnus here. And as you can see, Ultra Magnus just dwarfs Bumblebee. Rightfully so, though, because he should be small. He's just, to some people, his size is almost off-putting how small he is. And I mean, I could understand not wanting to drop a lot of money on this small of a figure. Bringing him out of there. So this Bumblebee comes with quite a few accessories here. He has this big, huge rocket launcher that's like almost as, well, actually, yeah, like almost exactly as tall as he is. This thing is actually comprised of 5 separate pieces. You can rip this back piece off, and that actually folds out. I'll show you more about that when we get to his vehicle mode. And then you can rip these apart, and then you can rip these off. Now, they kind of act as like a bipod when you have the whole thing assembled, or you can work it as like 2 pistols, or what I actually prefer is to put this piece right here and have him hold it as like just a big, actually, other side, this way. I like to put it like this and make it like a rocket launcher that actually fits him a little bit better. And these ports up here are compatible with blast effects. I tend to like the one that comes with Rodimus Prime. Right there. And he also does have this, which is a little Allspark from the War for Cybertron series. It's cast in this translucent yellow plastic here. It's got some details. It's almost kind of hard to make out the details just because of the color. Personally, I think this should have been with the Netflix Bumblebee. It would have made a little bit more sense with that pack rather than this pack, but it's not up to me, so I'll deal with it. Move all of his accessories out of here. He also has this, which is kind of a parts forming element. They kind of try to claim it as like a shield. It can go in his hand there. Hold it. I mean, I don't really know what good a shield made out of a glass windshield is going to do, but I prefer to leave this on his back just because I like that look a lot better than that as a shield. I think it as a shield is kind of pointless. When it comes to articulation on this guy, he is fairly well articulated. His head is on a ball joint, so you can get, your normal range of motion that you can get on a ball joint. His arms can go 360 as well as hinge out pretty far, actually. He has bicep swivel. That's mostly for transformation. He can bend his elbow about 90 degrees, as well as back about 90 degrees. You can just snap his elbow right there. He also has wrist articulation here. He does have waist articulation. It's kind of for transformation. He also has this weird like spine snapper move here, mostly due to transformation as well. He does have hip rotation. He can kick his leg out pretty far, about 90 degrees to the body. He can kick back, also about 90 degrees to the body. He can bend at the knee here, about 90 degrees as well. And he has these wicked ankle rocker joints that can go like way further than you would really need. But overall, he's pretty decently articulated. I got no complaints about it. That being said, though, we can go ahead and get him transformed. If you want to see the transformation guide on this guy, it will be down in the description as well as linked up here. Go ahead, check that out, and we can get him in his car mode. And here he is in his very cool looking alt mode here. So now I'm not a huge car enthusiast, like I don't know 100% about all vehicles, so I'm not too positive what car this is, but I do think it looks really cool. I know it's not, but for some reason this thing throws Dodge Challenger vibes at me. I know it's not a Challenger though. I mean, it's very obviously not, but I don't know. When I first looked at this thing, I got Challenger vibes. So therefore, I kind of just think of it as a muscle car. Pretty cool looking though. It is the same alt mode as that Earthrise Cliffjumper, and it does still have the whole parts forming part that a lot of people seem to hate. I don't really care personally. I feel like they could have engineered it without that, but I mean, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal to me. I do think that this looks super cool. My camera lights are kind of throwing off its colors. It is the exact same yellow that Bumblebee was. That's a lot better representation there. My lights are definitely throwing all the white they can at it. But something really cool with its alt mode that I find to be rather shocking is that all of these pieces of this rocket launcher are integrated onto the alt mode here. So you can take these things here, the bipods, and they actually peg in right here. So you can go ahead and just piece those into there, and they hold decently. They don't really like to hold 100% all the time, but you can put it right there. You can rip this back piece off here and open this up, and these two pegs and this peg line up perfectly to go into these two holes and that hole. So you can just go ahead and fit those in. Fits very snug in there, like so. And then you can take these, and on the side here, there is a slot on the handle, and there are these two posts here. They literally go right up into here. And this is an homage to an episode of the G1 show where Cliffjumper does this, because this is a retool or a repaint of a Cliffjumper. And just wow. That's impressive in my opinion, that they engineered a way to get that whole big rocket launcher to go. It integrates into the to the vehicle mode here, and that is super cool in my opinion. I mean, I could understand just because of the size where some of the hate comes from on this, but overall, I love this little Bumblebee. I don't understand where all the hate comes from. Like, yeah, it's small, but I mean, so? I personally think that this is one of the cooler Transformers I have in my collection, and I won't let its size really be a negative to it. I mean, it is tiny, but don't get me wrong, I'm not going to dock it points for being small. And the parts forming doesn't really bother me too much either. But with that being said, though, we can go ahead and get him back into his robot mode. Once again, the transformation guide will be linked down in the description as well as up here. Go ahead and get him transformed. And here he is back in his tiny little robot mode. All in all, I freaking love this figure. This is the one that I went out of my way to buy the 4-pack for, because I wanted the Bumblebee on my shelf, and the rest of them were just kind of a nice bonus, you know what I mean? Comes with this rocket launcher and all sorts of stuff, this little all-spark. It's very small, it's like really small, but I think that this is an awesome Transformer. I would definitely recommend it for anybody's collection if you're looking for a Bumblebee. If, and this is a big if you can find it for a decent price. I would not spend what some people are asking for this thing. Like, some people are asking outrageous amounts for this, and it's not worth like $100. Like, I'm just gonna say it straight up. If you could find it for a decent price, get it, because it's awesome. If you don't want it, don't get it. Maybe it's a pass for you just because of its size and the parts forming. I get it. It doesn't bother me. I think it's really cool. I hope you enjoyed the review and the figure. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and stick around for the next video.